Aloha and welcome. In this class, we're going to be talking about, hold on just a second. Much better. Okay, in this class, we're going to be talking about classes. So what is a class? Well, let's talk about a class in terms of something that we know from the real world. Let's talk about blueprints. So a blueprint describes what a house looks like. So we can think of a blueprint and a house is the same relationship between a class and an object. So we've seen objects before. Strings are objects, dictionaries are objects. They're made from classes that we don't see, but it works the same way. So they're built in. So we can make these things called classes that describe an object, and then we can create objects out of them through something called instantiation. So we make what we call an instance, an actual thing out of the class. So we'll have, let's say, a person. So let me go ahead and pull up our handy dandy, ever popular little VS Code editor here. Give me just a second to pull that up. The code, here we go. And this is not what we're going to be using. We're going to be using something totally different. So I'm going to close this out, and we will start with the idea of a person class. And I'm not going to go ahead and use actual syntax right now. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of spitball some ideas here. So let's talk about if we were going to create a person here. Let's say a person. We're going to have what we'll call a person. Well, actually, let's say classes, because that's what we're talking about here. And we're going to talk about a person. What do we know about people? Well, they're complicated critters, I tell you that. But one thing about people, or what we call attributes, the things that we associate with people, we have things like gender. So we can have, let's say, gender. We have age. We have eye color. We have weight, which we don't want to talk about. So we can talk about height. So these things are what we would call attributes. These are variables that are associated with this class called a person class. So you would have things that describe it, these data parts: gender, age, eye color, weight, height. And then you have some things that you can do, what we call methods. We've talked about methods in the past. We'll have method functions that actually do things with this person class. So we could have different things. I don't know. We can have, let's say, a walk, method. We could have a talk method. We can have a sit method. We can do a lot of things like that. So the idea is a class is going to be describing a set of attributes and a set of things that you can do on those attributes. So that's something that's really powerful. And we talk about a lot of these things that we have inside the class, like the attributes like person, gender, age, eye color. We can make these visible to the common user or not visible. We can have it where only internal functions can or internal methods can work on that. And we call this hidden aspect of something encapsulation. So the idea is, we talk about abstraction and we talk about encapsulation. So abstraction is when a user interacts with an object at a high level and not really the small details. You can kind of think of it like when you're working with a car, you don't turn on an engine by firing up the different parts of the engine. You just turn a key. You interact with the car's engine through that little turn of a key. So in the same way, you can interact with these objects through these little things that we make visible, like these methods like walk or talk or sit, and they can do different things. Maybe we can have a run one, and run will modify your weight, your weight attribute, things like that. So we're abstracting it. We're encapsulating that knowledge, or we're encapsulating those attributes inside this object in a way that you can get to it by using that the access methods that we make available. So this is a really powerful concept, and we talk about this in object-oriented programming. And it's really nice because we can hide a lot of the details that you really don't need to know as a user of an object. Like when you're using a string or something like that, you don't really want to have to deal with all the nitty-gritty little details of doing something. You just wanted to do the higher level thing like concatenate, or to delete the white space from the beginning and the end of your string. You don't want to know all the gritty details about it. So you can interact with it in a very abstract way like that. So that's really a nice way of working with these things through through your classes. Also, we talk about in this section abstract data types. And abstract data type is a data type whose creation and update are constrained to specific, well-defined operations, as compared to a concrete data type where it's very well detailed and fleshed out. So Python, it has some built-in objects. Value is part of the object. Methods are also part of the object. So those are things you're going to be seeing talked about in the current section on classes. So we're going to be moving on from this into other concepts. But the main thing I want you to understand from this intro into classes is a class is like a blueprint. And a blueprint has attributes to it, like how many stories to it. But it also has these things, the functions, these methods that do things on it. So keep all of that in mind. Just think of it as a blueprint. You can make these houses, or it's a blueprint for taking a class as a blueprint by which you make these different objects. So you can keep the details hidden from your user using encapsulation, and you can give them access to functions, these methods, to actually do things on those attributes, the variables and everything that we have assigned to that object. Another thing that I didn't point out that is important is each instantiation of an object, or each instance of an object that you make, is unique from the other ones. So if you create a person and you give it a weight of 100, and then you create another person and you give them a weight of 110, those are separate objects. They operate independently. So their weights are independent. They are different objects, different memory holes, and you can work on them separately. They will retain all of their attributes independent of the others. So you can make 1,000,000 of them if you want, and they're going to have their own attributes that are associated with that. So that's the lesson on classes, and stay tuned, and we'll dive into the next area. But one quick thing, if you do have any questions about any of this, as always, reach out to me in email, send me a note, say, hey, I'm having some trouble. I can talk to you in email, or I can set up a one-on-one session with you in Zoom, and we can talk about how to solve whatever questions you have there. But do reach out if you have trouble, and I will see you in the next lesson.